If you ever want to really freak someone out, just literally look at them and be like, so tell me about yourself. Watch people stumble like crazy, not knowing how to say words about who they are. We all do it, no judgment. If you did it to me, I'd be like, well, and then we ramble, it's bad. But in an interview, this question should not catch you off guard. But if you don't practice it, if you don't construct an answer, it will. So today I'm going to share with you how to answer tell me about yourself, and we'll work on constructing it together. Grab pen and paper, let's get started. Okay, so if this is our first visit together, first off, I love iced coffee. I use Starbucks every day I film. So that's number one. Number two, my name is Cassandra. I'm a career strategist and speaker. I help people go from hating work to happy work. So let's land you that next job. You want to make sure you're acing Tell Me About Yourself to get it. Okay, so point number one, you have to know that tell me about yourself is at least 95%, you guys, per self, it's a new word. Okay, tell me about yourself is 95% at least focused on your professional journey. We'll talk at the very end about should personal be included or not, but overall, this is about your professional journey. So be thinking through, what are those key things you've done in other positions that relate to this position? That's what you want to be focusing on. So it doesn't have to be a list of every title at every company you've ever had, but you do want to highlight, I had this role at this company, and then you're going to say where and name one thing you did that relates to the role you're going for. Either it prepared you to take this on next, or it's something in alignment with what they're wanting you to do in this role. So you want to do that for just kind of the key roles you've had before that relate to this new role. The other thing to know, you want this to be about 1 minute to 3 minutes long. I will say, tell me about yourself can be a little bit longer. 3 minutes is probably a really good sweet spot. I also like to think of this question as if they sit down and say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, we just got called in for an emergency meeting. I have 5 minutes, so just tell me about yourself. What do I need to know about you, why you're good for this role? Think about it that way. Can you in 3 minutes say some key things to let them know why you're a good fit for this role? So they don't need your entire work history, they don't need your entire life story. They need to know what are those highlights that show I am aligned and ready to take on this role. Now, one other thing with that role alignment, I did already say this, but I want to make sure it's really known. Don't be afraid to reiterate a title and a company, because yes, they have your resume in front of them, hopefully, but they probably glanced at it for 10 seconds. We all forget. They are not as familiar with us as we think they are. They've looked over your resume maybe once, maybe twice. They have not memorized it. So don't be afraid to name a role, name the company it was at, give that, sorry, my nose is really itching today, guys. Give that history of like, yes, I moved on from this company to this company because, and name the new skill you got there, the new project you got to do that makes you a great fit for this role. And then the next thing, you are always going to end with why you're sitting in the chair talking with them today. People really struggle with finishing off their tell me about yourself answer, right? We kind of don't know how to end it. So ending with the phrase, and I'm excited to now speak with you today because gives you the reasoning of why we've gone through this career progression, and now we're ending on why we're here today. I've done these things and now I'm talking to you because, and is it because you're excited for this new opportunity for growth, or as you can see from what I've done before, this opportunity aligns perfectly with the next step in my career, etc. Great. That's how we end this answer, is focusing on why are you in the chair talking with them today. Okay, so what about the personal side? How much of the personal side should you bring into this answer? I would say not much, and only on certain occasions where it's relevant. So nobody needs to know your hobbies. If they want to know you on that level, they will ask you your hobbies. They will ask you, what do you do in your free time? What TV shows do you watch? That is a separate question, but you can bring in the personal if it aligns to why you're going for the role. So maybe you've had a bunch of accounting jobs, but this is an accounting position at an eco-conscious company that aligns with your values. Then you're gonna bring up how, I'm excited to be sitting here talking to you because while I've done all this accounting work, I'm really excited to do it at a company like this because I've actually been making my life as green as possible and as environmentally friendly for the last 3 years. I created a new recycling program for my neighborhood. I volunteer with Save the Whales on weekend, whatever. Like, then you can bring in that side when it aligns in that way. Or, if it's some company that has to do with music and you've been a musician in your free time, you can talk about why you're excited to go for this role here because it aligns with your own hobbies. So that's one version of it. Others could be something personal about you that also just fits in and contributes with why you'd be a great fit for the role. So maybe it's because you volunteered at church planning every retreat for the last 3 years that you're now equipped for this event planner role at this company, right? That's where you got your event planning organizational experience. Like, you can use things like that, but the personal must contribute to the role. If it contributes to the role, you can share it. If it doesn't, we don't need to talk about it here. So how do you go about creating this answer? Well, first, look at that job description and then think about each role you've had, kind of working backwards, and figuring out from this role, what's one thing I did there that's on this job description, or one thing I did there that's prepared me to take on this next qualification that's in the job description. Mash those things up, write them down. Then you need to go through and structure this response. So you can do this one of two ways. You can start with your earliest experience and work your way up till now, or you can start with your most recent and go backwards. Some people do that. There are times where it does work, but overall, I think for most of us, it's easiest to go, hey, here's what I did in my past, like in my later past, and here's more recently what I've been up to, and start with the more current roles that lead to this role. And then if possible, in that answer, weave in a little bit about the company's mission or values within your answers, like something you did at one company that also aligns with the mission and values of this company. That's sort of a bonus point if you can do it. If you can't, it's okay, but if you can weave those things in, go for it. And then lastly, once you've constructed it, practice, practice, practice. You have to practice those answers. I actually have a whole interview confidence course. It's a short course. It takes you about an hour to go through, where we walk through the methodology I use to practice and that I teach all clients to use to practice. But at the end of the day, I'll put a link for it in the description below, but at the end of the day, the key thing is never let the first time you say those words out loud be in the room. Make sure you are practicing your answers to all questions, but especially tell me about yourself, because if you don't, you will ramble. I just promise you, you will ramble. So make sure you're practicing. Now, if you want more help for your interviews, I have a bunch of resources for you. One, you can keep watching videos here. Two, you can grab my free interview prep checklist in the description box below, and there will also be a link to that interview confidence course. So go check those out, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.